Alright, or what is going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all. You know what time it is. Alright, so back at it. I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I did went ahead and finish this all. Took care of the rod, took care of the bearings. It is all done, and I will tell you what I did to do that. So just to make sure nothing was damaged, I took what is this? I think this is 600 sandpaper and 450 sandpaper. And you just lightly wrap it around, and let me see if I can do this with the camera in my hand. Josh ain't here, y'all. I'm by myself. So just wrap this around, and with the other end, of course, being held by my other hand, and I just kind of pulled it back and forth to get an even coat on there. So I did that to this rod and this one. This one was okay, but like I said, I saw a little bit of scoring. I want to take care of that. And then this one was the one that was bearing was chewed up. So knowledge. Let's get to the knowledge part. One part of knowledge, folks. Be careful, because when you mix these rod caps up, they really don't fit. And I spent a good time just trying to figure out why it was smooth and spinning before, and then somehow I mixed up the caps and it was like the motor was seized up. So definitely make sure you keep those separated or number them. Number one, as you all know. Number two, the bearings. So this bearing is actually what saved me from having to replace that motor. Well, getting the crank remachined. If you look, this is tri-metal. Far more superior than this type of bearing. This is like a standard bearing. Do you see the type of scoring it has on there? This has no give. So once that coating comes off, it's pretty much bare metal contact, as opposed to this where you have tri-metals. And this is a layer of copper. This layer of copper just took all the abuse, the heat transfer, so that the crank did not get scored up and eaten up by such rough metal under those soft metals. So that will save you, all in all. That will save you from everything that can give you damage. So hold on. So thankfully, I went with some King bearings, because those bearings that I went with last time, ACL coated, didn't do a damn thing. Would not recommend them in my opinion. So King's Racing XP bearings, man, I'm telling you, just the first 50 miles of the motor break-in, it's already been a useful item to have. And especially when you're pushing more power and something happens, you definitely want your bearing to have your crank in mind. So again, just look at this, man. I mean, it was just about to eat through the copper in the center area, but we caught it in time and kept it from doing any further damage. I mean, and the copper just buffs right off, no issues. Again, the standard bearings are made for longevity. These are made for power and, I guess, abuse in mind. So when this goes out, it's just gonna eat up the crank, friction weld, hot spots, whatever. This will give you some hot spots, but it's going to try to absorb much of that damage as possible, with keeping that crank in mind and taking the brunt of the brutality. So definitely recommend King's Racing XP bearings, especially if you're doing any type of bearings. I even have those bearings for the crank, the main crank caps as well. So all these bearings are all XP bearings and already doing a wonderful job. So definitely keep those in mind. And it's about the same price as ACL, if not a little less, depending on where you go, but way more worth the money for you guys. I'm telling you. I know, because I already loaded up on this stuff, man. I mean, it's definitely well worth it. I got some standards just in case, but I hope to never use them, because those bearings are better. And they come coated on top of that those tri-metals. So definitely check them out. Part game 2. So let's get down to it. Oh, no, you go back in there. Oh, and then after I sanded the crank a little, sorry y'all, it's a little mess, man. I've been scrambling to get this motor done with the little bit of free time I have. But after I was done sanding with the papers, started with the 400, then the 600, then I used some authentic jeans to kind of like buff in there and kind of get everything out of there, shaving wise. Boom. Number 2, the motor mounts. I don't have any of my other ones, but this motor mounts, which is fairly similar to stock. It's just a custom one that I made. All right, so the advantages to these type of mounts, yes, you get nice rigidity and nice compactness without movement, but you also have that issue of vibration transfer. This is great for a track car, drift car, whatever. However, this is far more superior for all rounds. So the issue that I had when I was, damn, I don't have any stock mounts over here, but I mean, I'm doing density mounts, I'm doing stock mounts, and all I was doing was pushing about 300, maybe mid 3s in power, and the stock mounts and the density mounts, all they would do would just open and hydraulic fluid would come out, they burst, they lose fluid, they wouldn't work, the motor would flip around. So I came up with this idea, but this idea, again, it just gives a lot of vibration and transfer. So at the moment, I was like, there has to be a better alternative. There has to be something else that I can use as opposed to these, and this is where this came into mind. And I'm so glad I didn't have to make this. Shout out to Silver Project. I mean, I'm not sponsored, but they do have a product that I was looking for, that no one else makes for the B6, A4s, S4s, any of that body style, because of the simplicity and just putting some type of two type of metals together and then putting a rod through them and then calling it a motor mount. I mean, yes, it works, but again, I wanted something where I can have the best of all the worlds. Not both worlds, all the worlds. So that's when this came in. And if you look, let me get the lighting. I mean, so how it works, it's the same concept where you have something stacked up top of each other to create that spacing, but now you have these bushings. I guess they're bushings. I don't know what they're called, to be honest, but these type of bushings integrated. Now this right here is probably about as, I'd say about as hard as dress shoes, the rubber on dress shoes, and it's very absorbing. So it's very absorbing, but with this, you're also having. So if you look, we're not having that issue of the motors being compressed. Let me see if I can do this. So if you look, it's sitting on these bushings, which sitting on these bushings already is absorbing some of that vibration. If you look, it's not transferred directly to a solid piece, to a solid shaft. This vibration is held inside of here, as much contained on this. I wish I could see more in the lighting. Don't worry, guys, a motor mount. It'll get scuffed up. Forget it. So this section here is holding most of that vibration. Yes, it's getting transferred through these areas, but nowhere near as much as a solid area. So this is why one of the benefits why I went with this is because the transfer is nowhere near as much as this, and this is solid polyurethane as opposed to I have no idea the softness, but again, it's like a soft rubber. Don't really know how to explain it, but again, the vibration is held within here, giving less vibration throughout the whole subframe, the motor, the car. And then when you're getting that torque vector, not torque vector, when you're getting that torque pull, trying to twist it in directions, when it pulls up, because the motor's turned clockwise, so when it pulls up, it's pushing more force on these bushings, sending that vibration up, but it's also sending the twist factor through these bolts here. So as it's trying to lift up and twist, it's sending it and giving it a little bit of wiggle room to maintain that vibration stiffness. So in the event that I'm cruising, I'm dragging, anything of these sorts, this is gonna give me the most security and stiffness. Cause I've had one of these bolts break, and the motor literally almost jumped out of the hood. Thank God I had a hood. It kept the motor in there, but I've had a bolt snap. And with this setup, you have two places of security, but you also have vibration removed through these bushings. So this was definitely a way better route to go. I haven't put them in yet, but I already know for a fact these are a lot better. I've run these type of setups before on previous vehicles, but this is definitely the way to go. I'm so glad they make them, because ECS, Euro, whatever other Euro companies out there do not make any type of mounts other than these single two-piece metal caps or rubber caps. So this is definitely a lot better as far as what you're doing for power wise, as far as ride comfort, vibration, and then peace of mind. I mean, this is a stout mount, man. I'm telling you, it is worth it. Go check them out. There's some on YouTube. I mean, not YouTube, eBay. And you can check the web. B6, S4 mounts, they're all the same thing. So just check those out and find you a pair. So definitely check these out. Number 2, anyone doing the swap, the 2-1 stroker swap, this gasket is what you'll need, man. I mean, as far as I know, I have not tried it yet because I'm still waiting to put that bad boy in, but this gasket is a OEM spec gasket from ECS. Is it ECS? I can't remember. I believe it's ECS, but it's a spec gasket. However, it's overboard. So OEM 180 overboard head gasket. They had it in stock. It's good for 82.5 to 83.5 head gasket. Right here in stock. Didn't even know. The only issue was it wasn't the compression I wanted, but you know, you get what you get, right? So ECS, I believe it's ECS, has the overboard head gasket in stock, and then I did go with a OEM spec again because of the copper. I wasn't sure if this was the issue with the other gaskets that I was telling you about, how the head gasket was just, no matter what I did, it was just seeping through. I went ahead and went back to a copper gasket because I've never had any issues with those. So OEM 180 overboard head gasket in stock, baby, in stock. So once I get my new clutch system, we're gonna throw this bad boy in and get it moving along, but we're still waiting on a clutch. Number two. Y'all check this out, man. All you B6 people, B6, A4, S4s. This is, I'm sure you guys know. If you don't know yet, you haven't done this yet, but this is a shifter. This is a shifter right here. So how you do the short shifter is real simple and real quick. I mean, I'm telling you guys, just watch this. So when you have this shifter, your point is usually up here. This is where the rod goes through, and there's a bolt that connects up here. All you have to do, I'm telling you, this is the knowledge that I'm telling you, the trick of knowledge. Super easy, and I guarantee you it'll work. Do it at your own pace though. I mean, this is an easy mod as opposed to spending $150 plus on a short shifter. So all you do, take that bolt out, you drill a hole lower. So this is where, you can see it, this is where original bolt went. All you do is drill it lower, as low as possible without messing up the gap down here, because you want a little bit of meat on there. So as low as you can in the center, and what that does is it changes your fulcrum point, your leverage point. And I'm telling you what, this and alone, just moving it from here to here, I mean, you put it in, just move it just half an inch forward or maybe an inch forward, and it clicks right into gear, as opposed to that. Any of you who have a Audi know that gap fill in there. So all you have to do is just move that hole just down a little, and you automatically got a short shifter. I'm telling you, I've been doing it with all my cars. This one has it done, this one had it done, this one is actually from this one, so I know it works. I've been doing it. And again, you're just changing that fulcrum point. It looks scary because there's a hole in there with some type of rubber or anything in there, but all you got to do is drill a hole, put it through, and just lightly torque it down, because these are nylon threads, so you don't have to worry about them backing out, and just gently tighten them to where it won't move. And I'm telling you what, you have a short shifter for the free 99 as opposed to the 159. So definitely keep that in mind. Alright, now time for the clutch. As you all know, or some of you may know, I had a clutch explode on me. Not sure why it happened, but it did happen. Thankfully I had a backup. But I mean, I wasn't ragging on it or anything, but I'm not sure why this thing exploded on me like that. But a quick tip, I am running the S4 RA4 RS4 conversion kit, 240 millimeter disc, pressure plate, flywheel, the whole conversion setup. All you need to do, if anything in an event like this happens, I mean, clearly something's got to be replaced. Either your crank, not your crank, either your flywheel, your pressure plate, or your clutch. Something's got to be replaced. But in the event, these discs, you can get a stock OEM 2.7T S4 clutch disc for $70 on JHM. They hold the power. They're great. This is actually one of them. This is one of the spares that I had. The other one is in the car at this moment because this one exploded. But I mean, they're cheap clutches, 300 to about, I think it's 360 torque. And for $70, you have a clutch disc that has the power, that has the ability, the clamp force, and the durability for $70, as opposed to you paying 100, 200 plus for a disc similar. So all you have to do, JHM 2.7T S4 clutch disc, and boom, you got yourself something for $70. And this, I mean, look at this, man. I mean, it takes some time to get this. Uh-oh. Yeah, it takes some time to get to this. I mean, it did have a little bit of abuse on it, but $70, this could be replaced. I mean, it's a lot cheaper than a whole another disc setup, a stage 2, stage 1, when it's all pretty much exactly the same thing. So definitely keep that in mind. So you have a $70 clutch, you have a overboard head gasket, you've got this right here. I'm telling you, this right here, man, this motor mount, they need credit for this, because this is the only company that I could find making other motor mounts other than that clunky book nonsense. And then again, the bearings. Like I said, I run these King bearings and everything in that now. So definitely keep those bearings in mind. All right, so the last bit of knowledge is one, the return line. I'm telling you, if you want to make power, you need this return line setup. Right now, it's a little setup janky. I mean, not janky, but just something quick. I just want to make sure it works before I, fully set up the setup that we want to run. Bad boy over there. But you need a return line. I'm telling you, this is an ethanol gauge that I have. I took a Mach 4 oil not oil. Damn, I'm messing up. I took a Mach 4 return line, ran it down the length of the car. I mean, it's the same exact length, just a little shorter, but got the adapters, hooked it up to the ethanol content gauge, brought it back down to this fitting and transferred over to the stock lines, and then to the return system. So this is I think it's a Mach 4 or TT, I don't remember. Sorry guys, because you know they never came set up this way, so it's facing the wrong way, but all I did was bend it a little and try to keep the creases out of there, and just recircuit. And I'm telling you, it's about a 40, I mean, anywhere from 20 to 40 pounds of torque difference just in that alone, because you're constantly getting cool fuel as opposed to that hot fuel that was in there. And I'm telling you, the fuel temperatures are way lower. The car is way more responsive. And you're not wasting nowhere near as much gas. But all I did, again, take this TT or Mach 4 line, set it up, wrapped it around, created those adapters, and I ran it back to the stock same area. So ran it down in here, and it goes down under the car, down the length of the car, and then over to the fuel system. I don't know if you can see in there, but that's gotta be clean, but that's all it is, man. And it's ran through the stock. Let's see if I can get some light in there. Yeah, and it's ran through the stock setup. That's all it is. I mean, it's super, super easy, and more power to be gained than lost. Super easy. You will need to change the fuel filter, but like I said, man, definitely worth it. Super easy, super cheap. I went to the junkyard and I grabbed that line, and then you just make your conversion. Another tip: if you're going big turbo, the easiest way to create your oil drain, the way I seen and fit, this way right here. Just take your stock adapter or your stock fitting, and you just cut off the other end. You cut off the other end, and you put whatever AN fitting you leave it open in, whatever type of oil drain you have set up, and you're done. No trying to weld a bong in here, no trying to find an adapter. All you do is take that stock line, cut that other head off, and you put a line on top of it, and then you put your AN fitting or your clamp or whatever. The easiest way. I've had a few people ask me how I did it, what could they do. That is the easiest way. I mean, all you have to do is just cut this off. You can keep this flange here, no modification, in stock area. So that's the way I set up my big turbo oil drain. And then there's more tips and more knowledge to be made, but I'm not gonna give those out just yet. I'm gonna give the basics, and then as we go along, as we get more subscribers, viewers, and more people with different ideas, I'm gonna put those out there. But I don't want anyone to miss this type of knowledge, so that's why I'm going, you know, little basic stuff at first, and then I'll get you guys into the real meat of the stuff. But let me know. I mean, again, this one probably right here, this one and that motor mount are huge, man. I'm telling you, they're huge. But this right here made a huge difference just in how long it takes me to shift, the gap. Well worth it, man. Well worth it. So we'll do that, and then I have a Hellcat pump in the car. The only problem is I don't want to take it out right now. Can't take it out right now, but I'll give you guys a little quick picture of how I have that set up. But you know, any questions, any type of anything I can help you guys out with, I will do such. And then I'll give you some ideas in the meantime. But all of these tips that I'm telling you, you may use them at some point, you may not, but at least you have that knowledge for when you do come to something like this. So thank you all again. The motor is almost done. It's all assembled, ready to go. I mean, those bearing caps, we got some nice little bit of play in there, not too much play. Nothing hurt up here. So once that clutch comes in, and you guys, I ordered a bad clutch. I ordered a bad clutch. Not bad and bad, but bad as in good bad. and then I'll give you guys some insights, some updates, some details about that once it comes in. But man, oh man, I want all the SRTs, I want all the Hellcats within reasonable power. I mean, I'm not gonna go race some 1200 horsepower car and I'm only at 8 or whatever the case may be. I'm not doing that. We're gonna go tick for tack and we're gonna see what this thing can do, man. I know for a fact, I'm finna be giving out the sauce, man. I'm finna give it out. And it ain't finna be for free either. So, thank you guys again. I got more knowledge for y'all, but I got more excitement coming up. Next video will be assembly of this motor over here. Thank you. Stay tuned and launch built, baby.